For more than a century, the world has looked across the border to the United States. As the unquestioned leader of the modern era, America has been the land of innovation, wealth, and influence, home to Wall Street, Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and a military presence that spans the globe. But here's the twist. What if by the year 2050, another North American nation, not the US, steps into that role of global leadership? What if that nation is Canada? This may sound unlikely at first. After all, Canada has long been seen as the quieter neighbor, living in the shadow of the American giant. Yet the global landscape is shifting faster than ever before. The US faces deep polarization, declining trust from its allies, mounting debt, and the growing impact of climate change. Meanwhile, Canada is steadily building a reputation for stability, diversity, and resilience. Its population is expanding through one of the world's most ambitious immigration programs. Its cities are booming with innovation, and its global image remains one of inclusivity and trust. The world is changing, and so too are the definitions of leadership. The old model, measured by raw military might and economic size, is giving way to something new. Leadership based on sustainability, governance, and credibility. By 2050, the United States may still be powerful, but the nation best equipped to guide the world through its next chapter could very well be Canada. In this video, we'll explore the surprising reasons why Canada, once underestimated, might rise to become the world's leader by 2050. The decline of American leadership. For decades, the United States has been the symbol of global leadership, but cracks in that image are becoming harder to ignore. Political division has reached historic levels. Partisan gridlock is paralyzing Congress and eroding the nation's ability to pass reforms. Infrastructure, once the pride of America, has aged and deteriorated. Outdated highways, bridges, and transit systems fail to meet modern demands. Add to that a ballooning national debt, now in the tens of trillions. You have a country that increasingly looks more burdened than empowered. Beyond its borders, America's global reputation has also suffered. From controversial military interventions to inconsistent foreign policy strategies, U.S. soft power has lost much of the shine it once had. Global surveys consistently show growing skepticism about America's reliability. Allies question its long-term commitments. Rivals exploit its weaknesses. Polarization at home translates into inconsistency abroad. The world is unsure what version of the U.S. it will face next. This weakening of trust and influence creates an opening, an opportunity for another nation to rise as a stable, credible alternative. And this is where Canada comes in. Unlike the U.S., Canada projects unity, not division. Pragmatism, not polarization. Its global image is one of peacekeeping, inclusivity, and steady governance. The decline of American leadership doesn't mean leadership disappears. It means the world will be looking for a new example to follow. By 2050, Canada could be that example, not by outmuscling America, but by outlasting it with resilience, consistency, and trust. Canada's demographic advantage. If leadership in the 21st century will be about people, then Canada has one of the strongest demographic advantages in the world. Many developed countries are struggling with declining birth rates and aging populations. Canada has adopted one of the boldest immigration policies on the planet, welcoming more than 400,000 new immigrants every year. Canada isn't just maintaining its population, it's expanding it at a rapid pace. By 2050, this policy could push Canada's population past 60 to 70 million, nearly doubling its size in just 3 decades. That may still be smaller than the US, but it's the composition of that population that matters most. Canada's newcomers bring skills, education, and entrepreneurial drive. They come from every corner of the world, creating one of the most diverse and dynamic societies anywhere. In contrast, the US faces challenges in maintaining immigration levels. Political battles and restrictive policies lead to what some call a brain drain. This difference matters. A younger, more diverse population gives Canada a long-term advantage. Advantage in innovation, labor force sustainability, and global connections. Immigrants don't just fill jobs. They create new industries, link Canada to global markets, and refresh cultural vitality. Canada is building a brain gain, attracting the world's best and brightest, while the US risks pushing them away. By mid-century, demographics could be a decisive factor. Canada will stand out as a nation powered by youthful energy, global networks, and cultural inclusivity. In an era when talent and creativity drive leadership, Canada's demographic edge could be one of its greatest assets. Assets in surpassing America's global influence. Economic potential. For a nation to lead, it needs an economy that sustains growth and global influence. Canada, though smaller than the US today, has the building blocks of a future economic powerhouse. Its land is resource-rich, holding some of the world's largest reserves of energy, minerals, and agriculture. Oil and gas from Alberta, potash from Saskatchewan, wheat from the prairies, and hydropower from Quebec make Canada indispensable to global markets. Add to that a secure supply of fresh water, a resource becoming more valuable every year. Canada's natural wealth gives it a unique edge. But Canada's potential isn't just about resources. Its economic partnerships are deeply entrenched in global trade networks. Through agreements like CETA with Europe and CPTPP with Asia, Canada enjoys preferential access to some of the world's largest markets. Its close integration with the U.S. economy ensures it remains central in North American trade. Looking forward, Canada is positioning itself as a leader in future-facing industries. Artificial intelligence, clean technology, biotech, and advanced manufacturing. Cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver are building thriving ecosystems. Ecosystems for startups and innovation. Government support for research and development fuels this transformation, combined with the steady inflow of global talent. By 2050, Canada's GDP may still be smaller than America's, but its growth rate and economic stability could rival U.S. influence. While America wrestles with debt and gridlock, Canada could quietly rise as the economic model of balance and prosperity. Energy and climate leadership. If the 20th century was shaped by oil and military power, the 21st will be shaped by energy transition and climate resilience. On this front, Canada has one of the strongest cases to lead globally. First, it is already an energy powerhouse. Canada ranks among the top producers of oil and natural gas. Alberta's oil sands and offshore reserves provide steady global supply. But unlike some resource-heavy nations, Canada is investing aggressively in renewables and clean energy. Hydropower accounts for the majority of its electricity generation. Provinces like Quebec and British Columbia export clean energy to U.S. states. Wind, solar, and nuclear innovation are also part of the mix, showing a deliberate shift toward long-term sustainability. Second, Canada has set ambitious climate goals, including a path to net zero emissions by 2050. This positions it not just as an energy supplier, but as a responsible one, something global partners increasingly demand. As countries diversify away from carbon-heavy suppliers, Canada's reputation for reliability and responsibility will set it apart. Third, Canada possesses something even more valuable than oil or gas: water. With roughly 20% of the world's freshwater supply, Canada holds the single most important resource of the future. As climate change intensifies droughts and water shortages, this resource alone could cement Canada's status as indispensable. Finally, there's climate resilience itself. Rising seas, wildfires, and extreme heat are reshaping the global map. Many regions of the U.S. will struggle with livability and climate migration. By contrast, Canada, with its vast landmass and northern latitude, stands to benefit. It could become a climate-safe haven, attracting migrants and investment as businesses seek secure, sustainable bases of operation. By 2050, the world won't just measure leadership by military or economic size. It will measure it by who can provide sustainable energy, safe water, and climate stability. On all of these fronts, Canada has a unique advantage. Energy and climate may be the most important pillars of its rise, ensuring Canada isn't just surviving the 21st century, but defining it. Political stability and governance. One of the biggest differences between Canada and the United States lies in how each governs itself. The U.S. operates under a presidential system that often leads to gridlock. Two parties locked in endless battles. Government shutdowns and partisan showdowns have become almost routine. In contrast, Canada's parliamentary system allows for quicker decision-making and smoother transitions of power. While no system is perfect, Canada has proven to be far less vulnerable to political paralysis. paralysis that frustrates progress in the United States. This stability extends to how Canada is perceived globally. For decades, Canada has built a reputation as a reliable partner, a partner in diplomacy and peacekeeping. Whether through United Nations missions, NATO commitments, or leading in trade agreements like CETA and the CPTPP, Canada consistently projects itself as a nation that values cooperation over conflict. This reliability makes allies and partners more willing to trust Canadian leadership, trust in international institutions, something the U.S. has struggled to maintain, struggled amid shifting administrations and foreign policy reversals. Another advantage is lower polarization. While Canada certainly has political divides, they are not as extreme as those in the U.S., where cultural wars and hyperpartisanship dominate daily life. Canadians tend to favor pragmatic solutions and compromise, creating a sense of continuity that reassures citizens and international partners. In the global arena, perception is power. Countries look for partners who can be trusted to remain consistent and stable. Stable regardless of who is in charge. By 2050, Canada's steady governance may become one of its strongest assets, giving it international credibility that America's divisive politics increasingly erodes. Soft power, culture, education, and global image. Power isn't only measured in armies or GDP. It's also about how a nation is perceived and embraced worldwide. In this area, Canada shines with an edge that may prove decisive. Culturally, Canadian music, film, and literature have crossed borders, crossed with massive success. From global superstars like Drake and The Weeknd, to internationally acclaimed authors like Margaret Atwood, Canadian voices shape global culture. Culture in ways few countries of its size can claim. The film industry, particularly in Vancouver and Toronto, continues to serve as a Hollywood partner, producing blockbuster films and television shows watched by millions. Education is another powerful tool of influence. Canadian universities such as McGill, University of Toronto, and UBC attract tens of thousands of international students each year. These students don't just contribute economically. They become lifelong ambassadors of Canadian values. Ambassadors who spread influence far beyond Canada's borders. Perhaps most importantly, Canada's global image is tied to values. Values like inclusivity, multiculturalism, and kindness. At a time when the U.S. struggles with racial tensions and immigration battles, Canada projects a vision of a nation that embraces diversity as strength. This gives it enormous soft power, making it a more attractive partner in diplomacy, trade, and cultural exchange. Soft power is often underestimated, but by 2050, the ability to inspire and persuade through culture and reputation may matter as much as military might. On this front, Canada's growing global footprint and positive image give it a long-term advantage over the U.S. Military and global security role. When people think of global leadership, they often picture military power. And here, Canada clearly lags behind the United States. With one of the world's largest defense budgets, the U.S. maintains a global military presence unmatched by any other nation. Canada, by contrast, has a much smaller force, limited resources, and a focus on defense rather than projection of power. But by 2050, the definition of military strength may look very different. Instead of competing on raw size, Canada could carve out leadership in specialized areas of security. Cybersecurity is one clear frontier, protecting infrastructure, businesses, and governments from digital threats. Canada already has strong expertise in AI and tech, expertise that could translate into global leadership in high-tech defense. Another domain is the Arctic. Melting ice is opening new shipping lanes and exposing untapped resources. Canada's geography makes it a critical player in securing this region, a region that will become a new hotspot of global competition. By investing in Arctic defense and infrastructure, Canada could hold strategic influence that rivals don't easily ignore. Peacekeeping also remains a uniquely Canadian brand of security. While the U.S. often relies on hard power, Canada's reputation for diplomacy and conflict resolution stands out. It allows Canada to serve as a trusted intermediary in global disputes. This softer, more cooperative approach to security may become increasingly valuable. Valuable in a world of proxy conflicts, cyber attacks, and climate-driven crises. By 2050, Canada may not lead with aircraft carriers or nuclear arsenals, but with credibility, innovation, and strategic presence. Its role in global security could be defined not by force, but by influence in shaping peace and stability. Reflection, the bigger picture. Looking ahead to 2050, global leadership is evolving. It is no longer determined purely by military might, economic size, or population, but by trust, stability, sustainability, and the ability to navigate a rapidly changing world. By these modern measures, Canada is uniquely positioned to emerge as a global leader. Its strength lies not in sheer dominance, but in steady growth, inclusive governance, and a reputation for reliability. Canada's demographic advantage is significant. With a high immigration rate and a younger population, it is cultivating a workforce that is diverse, highly skilled, and globally connected. In contrast, the United States faces an aging population and political polarization, and a slower rate of workforce renewal. Canada's welcoming approach ensures continued innovation and entrepreneurship. It fosters social cohesion, creating a society resilient to future challenges. Resource management and environmental leadership also set Canada apart. With abundant energy, freshwater, arable land, and a commitment to green technologies, Canada is positioned to provide both stability and sustainability. At a time when climate pressures are reshaping the global order, by 2050, Canada's ability to offer secure, sustainable resources could make it a natural hub for international cooperation and trade. Soft power further amplifies Canada's advantage. Its reputation for diplomacy, multiculturalism, and peacekeeping ensures global credibility. While U.S. influence is increasingly challenged by internal division and inconsistent foreign policy, combined with technological innovation, education excellence, and cultural influence, Canada's global role is likely to be defined by guidance rather than domination. The bigger picture is clear. Leadership in the 21st century will rely on trust, reliability, and adaptability. Canada exemplifies these qualities, suggesting a future where it is not just a neighbor to the United States, but a respected leader on the world stage. By 2050, the shift in global influence may reflect subtler, more sustainable forms of power, where Canada's steady approach outpaces instability and inconsistency, proving that leadership can be earned through foresight and credibility rather than sheer force. In summary, while the United States will remain a major power, its traditional dominance is being challenged. Political division, infrastructure decay, and global skepticism create opportunities for a new type of leadership. Canada, with its stability, inclusivity, resource wealth, and international credibility, is poised to fill that space. By 2050, it may not merely compete with the U.S. It could lead in areas increasingly critical to global stability, such as energy, climate solutions, technology, and diplomacy. Canada's advantages are clear: a young and diverse population driven by immigration, a stable and efficient government, abundant natural resources, and leadership in sustainability, a trusted global image. Soft power, through culture, education, and diplomacy, ensures influence without military might. Meanwhile, technological innovation, AI development, and high-tech defense provide a modern edge for strategic global influence. This is where you, the viewer, come in. Do you think Canada has what it takes to surpass the United States by 2050? Which factors, immigration, governance, climate leadership, or soft power, will matter most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Join the discussion about the future of global leadership. If you found this video insightful, like, subscribe, and share it with friends who follow geopolitics and global trends. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss upcoming videos that break down major shifts shaping our world. To close, the 21st century may redefine what it means to lead. Power is no longer about dominance. It is about trust, foresight, and the ability to guide others. Canada embodies these qualities, quietly positioning itself to influence the world in profound ways. By 2050, it may no longer be seen as just America's neighbor, but as a leader in its own right. Keep watching, stay informed, and imagine a future shaped by the steady, thoughtful leadership that Canada represents.